Hello hockey fans, Oddman Rush here and welcome back to another video. Last weekend, we took a deep dive into the 1982 Stanley Cup Finals and explored why it is widely regarded as the worst finals in NHL history. Now, since we've already looked at the worst, it's only right that we explore the best finals too. But given that so many series have left their mark on the league, there are plenty of finals that are more than deserving of this honour. I mean, think of all the legendary matchups over the years. Picking the best of this bunch is no easy feat. However, after spending considerable time researching and after exploring the overall consensus online, the one series that seems to come up time and time again is the 1994 finals between the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks. After all, despite the clear disparity between these two teams on paper, the historic outcome of this series and the surprising way in which it unfolded means that 1994 is remembered as one of the most dramatic and exciting finals the NHL has ever seen. But why is it the best? How did it manage to surpass all expectations, and how has it earned such a prestigious reputation? Well, let's take a look at it in a little more detail and try to find out, shall we? This is the story of the 1994 Stanley Cup Finals, the greatest finals in NHL history. Now, in order to understand why this series is the greatest, let's take a look at each of its contestants and their respective journeys to the final round. Having finished first place in the Smythe division in each of the last two seasons, and having bowed out in the second round of the playoffs during both years, the Vancouver Canucks would struggle to continue this form during the 93-94 NHL season. After starting the year on the right foot with a strong record in October, this high would soon be followed by plenty of lows, as Vancouver would post a .500 record or worse every single month for the rest of the regular season. Despite finishing the year with a rather uninspiring 41-40-3 record for 85 points in 84 games, the Canucks would still secure second place in the Pacific Division and punch their ticket to the playoffs for the fifth year in a row. Finishing one game above 500 and still securing second in the Pacific? Talk about a weak division, eh folks? Having secured the 7th seed in the Western Conference and having entered the postseason as somewhat of an underdog, Vancouver would not only repeat their recent playoff success, they would go several steps further too. Thanks to solid scoring from star forward Pavel Bure, consistent production from team captain Trevor Linden, and impressive goaltending from starting netminder Kirk McLean, Vancouver would take care of business and then some. Despite trailing 3-1 against the Calgary Flames, a Game 7 victory in Round 1, a 5-game series against the Dallas Stars, and another 5-game win against the Toronto Maple Leafs would help the Canucks conquer all of their opponents and secure their first finals appearance since 1982. If that wasn't impressive enough though, the Canucks had been the lowest seeded team in each of these series, and they would punch their ticket to the big dance by taking down the 2nd, 3rd and 4th best teams in their conference, the complete antithesis of their first finals run just 12 years prior. Now on the flip side, the New York Rangers had been on quite the roller coaster ride in the years leading up to the 94 finals. After all, the Blue Shirts had won the 1992 President's Trophy as the best team in the league before finishing dead last in the Patrick Division during the following 92-93 season and missing the playoffs altogether for the first time in half a decade. With interim head coach Ron Smith being relieved of his duties, and with Mike Keenan taking the reins, the 93-94 season would see the Rangers return to the top. Thanks to their wealth of star power, Keenan's no-nonsense coaching style, and their myriad of trades at the deadline, New York finished first in the league and clinched their second President's Trophy in 3 seasons thanks to their 52, 24 and 8 record for 112 points in 84 games, a whopping 33 points more than the season prior. Having secured the first seed in the East and with home ice advantage throughout the playoffs, the Rangers would keep up the good work during the postseason too. Thanks to dominant scoring from star defenseman Brian Leetch, inspiring leadership from team captain Mark Messier, and lights-out netminding from starting goaltender Mike Richter, the Rangers would sweep the New York Islanders in Round 1 and dispatch the Washington Capitals in Round 2. Though they would play the New Jersey Devils in the conference finals, and though they would face elimination in Game 6, a promise from Messier that he personally delivered on, and some overtime heroics from mid-season acquisition Stefan Matteau would help the Blue Shirts force Game 7 and clinch the series in their favour, booking their first trip to the finals since 1979 and a chance to clinch their first championship since 1940. With the two contestants decided, the 1994 finals was set to be one of the more lopsided matchups of recent memory, as the 27-point difference between the President's Trophy winners and the 7th seed in the West became the largest regular season point differential between two Cup finalists since the 1982 finals between the Islanders and the Canucks. So if these two teams were so clearly mismatched, why is this finals the greatest ever? What made this series so special that it's earned such a prestigious title? Well, as the puck was dropped and Game 1 began, the New York Rangers would take control almost immediately, as the President's Trophy winners would fire on all cylinders and look to take advantage on home ice. Despite dominating their opponents for much of the contest, brilliant goaltending from Vancouver netminder Kirk McLean would keep the score at just 2-1 late into the third period. From there, Canucks forward Martin Gelinas would tie the game with 1 minute left in regulation and send things to overtime. And though Rangers star Brian Leetch would hit the post during the final minute of overtime, the Canucks would take the puck down the other end of the ice, Greg Adams would fire it past Richter, and Vancouver would walk away with the 3-2 win. Though they suffered a bitter defeat in Game 1, the Rangers would quickly bounce back, as a 3-1 victory in Game 2 would help them even the series at 1 apiece, before a 5-1 beatdown in Game 3, thanks in large part to Pavel Bure being ejected from the game for his stick to the face of Rangers defenseman Jay Wells, would help the Rangers take their first lead of the final series. While the Canucks would start strong in Game 4 and open the scoring for the second game in a row, this lead wouldn't hold for very long. Despite taking a 2-0 lead early in the game and putting home ice advantage to good use, key stops from Richter, including on a penalty shot from Pavel Bure, and a 4-point performance from Brian Leetch would help the Rangers take a 4-2 victory in the contest and lead the series 3-1. With the Rangers sitting just 1 win away from clinching the championship, and with the series returning to Madison Square Garden, all eyes shifted to Game 5 of the finals. Would the Rangers finally break their drought and lift the cup for the first time in 54 years? Well, for many people watching, they certainly thought so, as the home crowd spent much of the game chanting "We want the cup," and the city of New York had already set a date for the team's victory parade too. However, Vancouver weren't ready to accept defeat just yet. After a strong performance by the Canucks during the first 40 minutes of play, and after taking a 3-0 lead early in the third, the Rangers would somehow manage to tie the game before the midway point of the period, before Vancouver eventually sealed the deal, as the tie-breaking goal just 29 seconds later by Canucks forward Dave Babbage, and their resulting play for the rest of the period would help Vancouver cruise to a 6-3 win. With the series heading back to Vancouver, and with the Canucks down 3-2, the Canadian side would put on quite the show for their hometown crowd. After putting up 14 shots during the first period alone, and after leading 2-1 after the second period thanks to a pair of goals from defenseman Jeff Brown, a 2-goal period from forward Jeff Courtnall, and some fantastic netminding from Kirk McLean would help Vancouver dominate the Rangers, win the game 4-1, and secure their first finals victory on home ice in franchise history. 5th time's the charm, right guys? So after leading the series 3-1 and having been a single win away from lifting the championship, New York had seen their advantage slip away, as some strong performances from Vancouver had helped the Canucks win back-to-back contests and tie the finals at 3 apiece. You can see why this series is so highly regarded now, can't you? I mean, talk about dramatic! With Vancouver forcing a Game 7, and with the series returning to MSG one last time, the 1994 finals marked just the second time since 1971, and only the 10th time in league history that the final series had been pushed to 7 games. With a single contest left to play, and with their entire seasons on the line, would the top-seeded Rangers finally break their drought, or would the underdog Canucks finally lift the trophy instead? Well, after 60 minutes of play, Goliath would triumph over David. Thanks to a trio of goals from Leetch, Messier and Adam Graves, as well as clutch goaltending from Richter, New York would win the contest 3-2, clinch the series 4-3, and lift the 1994 Stanley Cup, finally putting an end to the chants of 1940. So what seemed like a pretty uneven matchup on paper turned out to be one of the most dramatic, exciting and entertaining finals the NHL has ever seen. After all, whether it was the early lead for the Rangers, the inspiring comeback by the Canucks, or the legendary Game 7, this series had it all, whether you supported either of these teams or not. Add to that the Canucks coming one win away from clinching their first ever championship, and the Rangers breaking a 54-year drought, and this series has certainly earned its reputation as the greatest finals the league has ever seen. Following this incredible final round, both teams would shake hands, go their separate ways, and actually produce relatively similar journeys in the 3 decades since. For the New York Rangers, this championship run would prove to be lightning in a bottle, as head coach Mike Keenan would depart from the organisation before the following 94-95 season began. The Rangers would make it to the second round in each of the next 2 years, and would even reach the conference finals in 1997 before missing the postseason altogether for 7 years straight. That said, they have returned to the big dance on one occasion since their 1994 win, as they made it all the way to the final round back in 2014, but they were eliminated in 5 games by the Los Angeles Kings. Curse you, Alec Martinez! On the flip side, the Vancouver Canucks would also struggle to repeat this Cinderella run, as they would make it past the first round just once in the next 2 seasons, before missing the playoffs altogether 4 years in a row. Similarly to New York though, the Canucks have also made a lone finals appearance in the several decades since, as they made it all the way to the 2011 finals before eventually being eliminated by the Boston Bruins. If that wasn't bad enough though, Vancouver would also lose that series in 7 games, and the final contest would be on home ice too. Canucks fans really can't catch a break, can they? So thanks to the clear disparity between these 2 teams on paper, and thanks to the exciting way in which it unfolded, the 1994 Stanley Cup Finals has since become known as the greatest finals the league has ever seen. I mean, you had one team come 1 win away from their first championship ever, and another end a half-a-century-long drought. You can't get more legendary than that, right? There have been plenty of amazing series in NHL history, and many of them could make convincing arguments to hold this title, but if one series perfectly encapsulates the beauty of the Stanley Cup Finals, it's 1994. And on that note, I'm going to end today's video. That was a look at the greatest Stanley Cup Finals in NHL history. What do you guys think about the 1994 finals? Was it the greatest finals the league has ever seen, or do you think another series has earned this title instead? Do let me know in the comments below, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But thank you very much for watching guys, I do hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! A big thank you to Bexy93, Burned Retinas, Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, Raquel and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.